Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. Still hurts after 2 years. TLDR, I'm moved on and at peace with my current life, but I'm still hurt by my cheating ex's actions and especially her subsequent callousness nearly 2 years after we split. Is this normal or do I need to factory reset my brain? I, 30M, was in a relationship with 35F for 4.5 years. Happy and loving regularly, but troubled frequently. She had a drink problem. She would drink regularly and to massive excess. All kinds of booze mixed together in the one night. She was a very angry, obnoxious and physical drunk and occasionally would be violent to me. Nothing bad, but it's still obviously a massive line crossed. She'd be kicked out of weddings, including one where I was a groomsman, cause scenes in public, disappear randomly. Even starting fights that led to her getting attacked. Random men sometimes appeared at the door, in hindsight, probably encouraged there, and I lose count of the number of cab drivers I had to barter with to recover phones or calm down after they weren't paid. It was hell and I was naive, thinking I could help or that she would magically wake up one day and sort herself out. I was patient way beyond what I should have been. I always cleared up the mess. It was my first relationship and I'd date to marry, plus I was afraid to leave as I didn't want to be alone. It did naturally, however, cause massive issues in the relationship. The fallout and hungover depression she always went into was always a tornado of emotions. I, pretty vehemently, advised therapy or better control each time and got a snappy, defensive response, and you can imagine the rest. On top of that, for 18 months of that time, towards the end, she was also secretly cheating with a married man she met drunk in a bar, who also turned out to be a work colleague as well. This was discovered by her later. They would meet in secret, either at our place or at his. They would drink together and have sex, and apparently this happened at least 10 times. It came out when the other guy messaged me to explain what had been happening, as apparently he was an alcoholic and was getting help to repair his estranged marriage. I didn't respond but challenged my ex about it. I was dumb enough to believe my ex's story at the time, because it was just plausible enough. I was doubtful, genuinely, but also enjoying the comfort of all the sand around my head. Cheating happens to other people, not me, I thought. Fast forward a few months, and we had split in September 2020, one argument too many. I am laying in bed one night and a light bulb goes off in my brain about this random message I got some weeks before from this guy, so I respond asking if it was true. He says it is, so I challenge my ex. She says it isn't, so I tell her that isn't what he said, then she comes clean and admits it. Cue instant horror. She feels a random pang of consideration for someone else and invites me to talk about it at her place later that evening. Bad idea, I know, but I was so traumatized, frankly, that information seemed the best comfort. I get there and instead of remorse, after I express my obvious upset, I get verbal abuse and she makes threats of violence towards me. In my distressed state I lost myself, stole a spare set of keys and ended up unlawfully entering and damaging her property, which led to a police caution which I'm totally not proud of but definitely hasn't become a perverse source of satisfaction either. Cut most of the subsequent bullshit. There were more promising conversations over Christmas 2020 regarding empathizing with me during a clumsy attempt to forge a friendship, but we drifted apart. I went to therapy last spring, learned a lot about myself and came out the other side a much wiser and healthier person. I last heard from her in June 2021, when she had a nasty car crash and I think she was after some cheap emotional validation which I didn't provide, and was curious as she was dating her now boyfriend at the time. Seuss. I don't think the narcissist inside her expected this, so I was treated to a lovely rant about how I was a broken record and nobody cared about what I thought. It had too much therapy by that point to take it to heart unduly, but it fucking pissed me off. It pissed me off that it pissed me off. Make no mistake, she is a train wreck narcissist. I miss the companionship but I certainly don't want her back. She blatantly hasn't grown and I only feel pity for her current partner who will be living a similarly blissful existence without knowing what she's up to in secret, whilst simultaneously being love-bombed and future-faked just like I was. I, however, am more at peace than I ever have been in my life. It's lonely at times but I won't sacrifice it for anything. It eats at me though that there is a total absolution of responsibility on her part, still. I tell myself it's the massive guilt she feels, and I'm probably right. If she bumped into me in public I have no doubt she would run away like the coward she is. A growing part of me wants this sort of scenario to happen and I shouldn't. I shouldn't care. I feel the hurt she caused and feel the urge to show I'm not broken by it, strong in spite of her and how she's ruined my core beliefs about relationships. Perhaps it's a sign of how damaging this was that I am here writing this, in spite of how much I enjoy the piece. Or do I just need to get over myself because it's been so long? Here are some of the best comments from our community. Excellent for you that you're not only in a more peaceful mindset, but also that you denied her any validation. When you don't give validation to narcissists, it inflicts pain on their psyche. The pain that they love to dish out to others comes back to them. One thing for anyone to consider if you are in a relationship so you are not alone: you failed. I am so sorry for what you have been through. One should never live in this assumption that they can't be cheated by their loving significant other. Cheating is a reality. I too am just trying to figure out if I am being cheated on. If so, I will pack my shit and disappear in the thin air. Another cheating story. My husband snuck a woman into our basement during a pandemic, while my kids and I were asleep upstairs. I haven't posted my story here yet, but I guess it's time. Apologies for the long rant, I need to put this somewhere, I guess. Almost 6 months ago I woke up sometime between 11 and midnight to my 15-month-old crying. I checked the monitor thinking her dad would be in with her, as he was still up and had been taking night duty the past few days to try and wean her. He was not in the man cave nor either of the bathrooms, which was weird. I went to the main floor to look for him but didn't see home. Went back upstairs to check, but didn't find him. At this point I started to get a little worried that something had happened to him, and then when I went back downstairs, I noticed the door to the unfinished basement was shut, which was unusual. I started to open the door when my husband came out. I asked him what he had been doing and he replied, looking at my baseball cards. He went upstairs to our daughter and I went down to the basement because something felt off. At first I didn't notice anything, including baseball cards, but then I heard a weird noise and there was a half-dressed female trying to hide in the corner by the water heater. I asked her who she was, she told me Ashley, and I turned around. Abs headed back upstairs where I took my daughter from my husband and told him he needed to leave. He asked where he should go and I told him I didn't care. I went back downstairs to the basement and the girl, Ashley, was climbing out one of the windows. I said you can use the front door because I'm polite like that. We are getting divorced and I am doing all the things I am supposed to do, therapy for myself and my 5-year-old, self-care, leaning on my support system should I need to, being careful of what I say around the kids so they don't become more damaged by this. He is loving in his parents' basement, says he wants 50-50 custody but has had the kids one night a week for the last 4 months. Drags his feet on the divorce by found out he is dating. Ugh. I want to move on, to be happy, but it is so hard when the one person I trusted and let in more than anyone else so utterly rejected me. I feel thoroughly unworthy and unlovable right now. Here are some of the best comments from our community. His behavior is gross and hugely irresponsible given the pandemic. Is that the mind of adult that can appropriately handle unsupervised visits? Good on you for drawing your boundary and sticking to it. I mean, even if the world was normal, who in TF bring a mistress into your house while your wife is asleep while your kids are asleep? Who knows how many times he did this when she was or not home? Your husband sounds like such a loser, seriously. I hope you destroy him in court. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell.